everybody. Thank you for being here today. We will have a very special webinar with Larissa Miller about BPW in the post-COVID world. She will be talking about how our BPW leaders will need to adapt. We all need that kind of advices. Our speaker, Larissa, is a member of BPW-USA. She is a member of the North Carolina Club and also South Florida Club. And she is establishing a new club in Miami, Florida, and she will be the former president. She is a CEO of global and international municipal and government consulting firm. Her background is in political science and organization leadership, has lived and worked abroad extensively, and is widely recognized as a leader in her field. Thank you very much, Larissa. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. This is Larissa Miller, and I want to send greetings to my BPW sisters, all of us who are largely still homebound around the world, to say hello and to have a conversation with you all today about what the future of BPW and organizations may look like as we move forward into this new post-COVID world. I suspect that we will be living with COVID for quite some time, but we will be eventually in a post-COVID world, and I hope that I can help give you some tools and resources and thoughts as to how we can move together as a sisterhood into this new and transformational future that we will undoubtedly be facing. I spend a great deal of my professional time consulting with businesses and organizations, and we give a great deal of thought to both where we are now, but what the future looks like. And I talk a lot about what the future of business looks like, but largely that also applies to what the future of social organizations, business and professional organizations, and even what our academic future looks like. For social organizations, we have many new considerations on top of the old and familiar considerations, such as membership. How will we have meetings and conferences, and how do we build and maintain our clubs, both on a local, regional, and international level? Maintaining unity and growing membership will be important, and the innovative strategies and the forward-thinking methodologies that we apply will determine whether we become a leader and a vanguard over all of the other social organizations, or whether we find ourselves becoming redundant, and we certainly don't want that to happen. And surprisingly, and what most people don't understand, is that this is a phenomenal opportunity. For businesses, times like this are when fortunes are made and fortunes are lost, and for social organizations like BPW, this is when we can really rise to the top as the cream that everyone will be looking for social unity and guidance as we move forward. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about where we are now, and I'll look at this first from a business and logistical standpoint, and then from a standpoint of where we are as an organization and a sorority. We are seeing a major transformation in the way business operates, as many corporations around the world, most multinational corporations, are now functioning on a remote employment basis with people working from home. If they do go to a physical office space, it may be for only 1 or 2 days a week because of the requirement for social distancing. Many multinational corporations have ceased travel into the beginning of second quarter of next year, so June of 2021. Most companies aren't authorizing their employees to do any international travel. And in fact, we're seeing many of our global airlines, such as Emirates and British Air, cutting back their travel schedules. Emirates is reducing their staff by a 1/3. They're retiring all of their A380s, which were their big, super luxurious double-decker aircraft that they were so proud of, because they fully anticipate that it will be up to 3 years before international travel even begins to resemble what it did a mere 6 months ago. There's so much uncertainty ahead of us because we are still in the midst of this pandemic. You in Europe are starting to do a slow emergence and seeing a more impactful return to normal. Here in the United States, we're still dealing with the struggle of certain states on the incline, others are maintaining, but that changes on a daily basis, so we don't have any solid footing yet as to where we will be in the next few months, let alone the next year, as we all fully expect that the fall and winter will bring a revisiting of where we need to be as far as quarantining and social distancing. And that being said, because we are now making this shift into a new norm, a norm where we are depending on technology to be the unifier for us globally, where employees are now having virtual meetings and learning a whole new set of rules and etiquette that go around virtual meetings. We're embracing Zoom, we're embracing Skype, we're using Teams, every single platform. I know for me, I bounce between about 6 daily, depending on which client that I'm talking to. But it is clear that technology is going to be the nucleus of the way we communicate moving forward. Many people out there say that it's just a matter of biding our time and licking our wounds until we return to that sense of normalcy and bliss that we knew 6 and 8 months ago, or even 3 months ago. But the fact of the matter is that the longer this goes on, the more prolonged our mandate for social distancing, our prohibitions on travel and international travel, and the more we need to rely on social media and technology capacity, we're going to recognize that this is going to be the way we need to structure our organizations moving forward, and BPW will be no different. The future for social organizations can either be dismal or it can be bright, and really the choice is up to us. The social organizations that embrace the new way forward and recognize that we will never go back to the way things were before. And that's a very shocking statement for many people, because people think that once we coast through this storm, once we ride this wave to the shore, that suddenly our stores are going to be the way they were. We're going to eat in restaurants the same way. We will board airplanes and stay in hotels, and we will go back to our offices as we used to be. But if you think of it this way, as companies are now seeing that they can reduce the overhead of their business operations by having their employees work remotely, and they're seeing the capacity and KPIs being achieved with their employees at home while they're saving a great deal of money on the overhead, and corporations are seeing that they don't need so many subsidiary offices around the world because now their employees in Singapore and Tunisia and Ecuador can all sit in front of a computer and communicate in real time with one another. We're going to see that these offices aren't going to go back to the way they were. And companies are going to embrace this new way forward. As they put money and great investment into structuring their operations around this new temporary situation, we're going to find that it's going to become the permanent situation. If a company invests in laptops for their employees and makes sure that they have new policies established for people to be able to work remotely and from home, and their travel budgets can be cut by 75% because we can travel to visit with one another with a click of a button on our computer screens, they're never going to want to retool after we come out of whatever this period or however long this period of darkness is. So this is the world that we need to get used to, and this is the world that we need to build the future of BPW based on. If we do get back to that blissful sense of normalcy that we knew last fall, that's fantastic. But if we plan for this to be our normal, we will run ahead of the pack and be the organization that people turn to as their social unity moving forward. We have a great opportunity right now because people are looking for guidance. People are looking for a lifeline, both professionally and socially. We sit in our homes, we get lost in our thoughts, our minds can become our worst enemies, and somehow and sometimes it's very difficult to see outside of the cattle chute that we put ourselves into. So by interacting and engaging with one another, we open ourselves up to the fact that we all have the same worries, we all have the same struggles, but this sister is handling it this way, this club is handling it this way, and this company has this innovative strategy that we can use to make ourselves better and stronger and more unified. This is now probably the most important time in the history of mankind for a global unity, professionally and socially. It's the century of women. It's the decade of action. It's ironic that we start 2020, which is the decade of action, in such a globally fractured way. But this also shows us that we have a brilliant opportunity to not just take small steps forward in achieving the 2030 goals or whatever our target ultimately is. This is an opportunity for us to charge ahead and look at hyper change. It's scary for some to have to embrace this new technology and the new fact that our cocktail parties, our coffees with one another, our club meetings are going to have to be done digitally, but it's also a phenomenal opportunity because it allows us to connect instantaneously. If you're sitting at home and you're lost in worry because you have a small business that you're struggling to keep on track, or if you're at home worried about how, as a club president, you're going to keep your membership intact, with the click of a button, you can reach out instantly and be in touch with any one of your BPW sisters and say, hey, can you talk through this with me? I just need some guidance. I need a new perspective, and I'm really kind of lost at the moment. So by utilizing technology and making sure that we all progress with this new technologically hyper-connected future, we will allow ourselves to be stronger and morph into the leaders of the future that right now we are being demanded to become. Those who sit back and believe that we will eventually get back to the way things were before are the ones that will really struggle moving forward to be able to find the innovative solutions that will make us the vanguards of the future. The youth who are inheriting this badly fractured planet from us are already adept at technology and making sure that they can progress in a very technologically minded manner. And oftentimes we count on the physical presence and the physical interaction. And we say, how can we live in a world that is digital and we don't have that connectivity? But yet we do. You can see me, I can see you. We can talk to one another. It doesn't make any difference that when I reach my hand out, you're not physically there in front of me because we see each other and we're engaging with one another. Probably more so than we do in the physical presence, because in the physical presence, how many times are we in a restaurant and we see a couple on a date and they're both on their phones? Or we sit with our children and our children are texting while we're having dinner. Whereas this really engages us to look at one another and interact with one another on a much more engaged level using technology for our ultimate benefit. Technology is going to help us make BPW the organization of the future. There will be many organizations that will struggle to catch up because right now they're sitting back. They've pressed the collective pause buttons on their meetings. They aren't thinking about where they will be in the next year or 2 years. They're riding out the storm, and they'll deal with it at the end of this and try to bring everybody back in. But if we as BPW sisters recognize that this will be the new way forward, and we start to build our strategies based around this this new norm, World 2 that I call it. And World 2 doesn't have to be a scary place. If we take the proactive reins of this cart, we can drive World 2 where we want it to go and to our benefit, and we won't be the ones that are playing catch up to everyone else. How this looks for our clubs. This is an opportunity now for us to engage with each other on a global level, where you might belong to a regional club in Italy, or you might belong to a regional club in Florida or Taiwan. This is an opportunity for us now to participate in each other's meetings and really have a broad sense of sisterhood and connectivity. It doesn't have to be that we come together at BPW Europe Conference or BPW Latin America or BPW Congress. We can come together at every single meeting from around the world, expanding our membership, expanding our views, expanding our perspectives, and gleaning information from one another that will be beneficial not only to our clubs, but to our businesses and to ourselves personally. This is an opportunity for us to be able to grow our membership. You can take a club, a regional club that would get together once a month or once every 6 months. And now you can say, perhaps we now need some local subsidiary clubs where we may only have 4 or 5 or 6 BPW sisters, but we can get together in a physical presence at one another's homes, and we can stay engaged. And by doing that, by offering more options, by going to a local level, a county, regional, city, state level, by going to a regional level and an international level, we open ourselves up to much more membership value, much more membership presence, and we will grow this organization to be the #1 sorority for women in the world. How will meetings look as we move forward? Meetings will largely be digital. We look at organizations such as the United Nations General Assembly, which has been canceled for the fall and will be done online. The World Bank meetings in April, which were made virtual meetings. We have the World Government Summit, which is a phenomenal summit of world leaders, and that's going to be done remotely. You have your G13 Summit, which will be remotely, your African Union Summit, which will be done remotely. And it's not seen as a deterrent. Technology is rising to the challenge. Technology is there to make our lives convenient and connected, empowered, and strong if we learn how to use it and we aren't afraid to integrate it into our clubs and into our processes and into our policies. If we can't get together regionally, if we can't have our European conference or our Latin American conference, we certainly can, because we can use technology. If we have a once-a-month meeting that is open to our global BPW sisters but is hosted by a different club each month, if a club in Italy hosts us, for instance, and they have a segment where they have a small concert put on by a local musician, we open ourselves up to a global mentality. We don't wait once a year for a big conference and expose ourselves to the culture at that time. We have an opportunity to expose ourselves to global thinking, global culture, and global friendship on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and on a yearly basis. So as I look at this, and as I look at the global collaboration that needs to come, and I say, how can BPW maintain their membership? It's going to mean that our website is going to have to become very interactive, because people will be turning to our website to figure out how to connect with different clubs. We'll need a real-time calendar where we can sit down and see that the club in Ireland is hosting a webinar that I'm very interested in the topic and I can join. Or a club in St. Louis, Missouri has a topic or a small concert or a poetry reading that they're doing for their sisters, and we can join from around the world. We need to make sure that BPW is riding at the top of the wave of connectivity. If we can't access BPW, if we can't see the value that is being shared by the BPW clubs around the world, we will find that it'll be very difficult for us to drive membership. If BPW emerges as the vanguard of a technological future for social organizations, we will be the organization that people turn to help mentor them, guide them, give them the direction and the safety and the comfort that we're all craving during a time of uncertainty and you know, a global shift, a disruptive shift, a transformational shift, but we need that sense of unity. And our young women who are already technologically adept will find that online in one way, shape, or form. And when they go searching for that unity, we want them to find BPW. We want them to see the value in the mentorship of those of us who have been in business for many years and have the experience and the knowledge to share with them. And likewise, we want to be able to garner the knowledge that the young people have through their broad, open-minded thinking, their ability to hack apart a problem in ways that we can't even envisage. This is a wonderful time for BPW. This is a huge opportunity for BPW to be the leading professional women's social organization of the world. This is an opportunity for us to engage with one another on a monthly basis. This is an opportunity for us to open our clubs to membership for people all around the world. If you are in the Silicon Valley and you have a BPW club, you open yourself up to technologically minded young women from all around the world who want to find a sense of sorority. If you have young women, a young woman in Harvard who wants to learn Italian, joining the club in Italy so that she can have regular engagement with one of her sisters will provide outstanding value. We have to have a transformational mindset. We have to look at the future of our organization in a completely new way. We take an eraser to the piece of paper of the way we used to know BPW, and we write this beautiful new story from this point forward. We can do this together. So those of us who may not be so technologically minded can lean on those who have a little bit more of a technology experience. Those of us who have experience with putting together a business, growing a business. What was it like to go through the last great financial struggle 10 years ago and put your business back together? There will be young entrepreneurs who will be desperate for that information. There's so much that we offer one another worldwide. We need to make sure that we are driving ourselves forward as the organization that will shape the future for professional women. I am so proud to be a BPW sister. I'm very proud to interact with you all and be able to mentor young women. I'm also thrilled to be able to learn from the young women that we have as our BPW sisters. We can engage with one another on platforms such as LinkedIn. We can follow one another on social media, and we can join one another through our global BPW meetings. If we take our BPW website and make it interactive, and we can click on a calendar and see what events are happening at any given time with a link that allows us to join, we open our small clubs up into a global and international presence. It's my honor to be a BPW sister, and I'm a BPW member in 2 clubs here in the United States, and we are establishing the club in Miami until I got stuck in North Carolina for the last few months. But this is all part of the adaptation and transformation that we're undergoing, and it allows us to really think how we can have this presence without being physically present. How we move forward as a club is up to us. Like I said, we write the next chapter. We are the authors of our story, and how that ends or how that continues is up to us. I look forward to engaging with you all. If anyone at any time wants to be in touch with me or talk with me, I'm always happy to engage with my BPW sisters. And I encourage you all to think of BPW and your clubs and your membership with a much more dynamic mind. If you have a strength that can be of value during this transformational time, I urge you to offer that to your clubs. If you have a vision for how we can carry BPW forward with new projects, new undertakings, please offer that up. We're all looking for a sense of belonging at this time. We can emerge from this. We will emerge from this as the professional women's organization that drives the future. We just have to come together collectively to recognize that we are the drivers of that future. Thank you.
Thank you, Larissa, for talking to us in such great detail and with such passion about BPW in the post-COVID world. And there's a lot of uncertainty, of course, but we can make some predictions, and especially from your level of expertise, on what this new world will look like and what it will mean to organizations such as ours, in what ways we need to adapt and to capacity build, and in what ways we need to better lead our clubs and federations in this new direction. So we thank you very much for your insight. We hope that it's helpful to our BPW leaders around the world. Thank you too to you, the viewer. We really appreciate you coming to see these videos, and we hope that you'll look at some of the other ones in the channel here. We also hope that you join us in one of our live webinars coming up soon. Bye for now.